Thank you for being here and thank you for being present. I'm your host, Angie, and this is episode 5 of the Mellow Magnifying Glass. We all have experiences that make this life feel very difficult, and we all have intentions to mellow out and enjoy life. So, with that being said, I'd like to reintroduce my beautiful guest, VG. She's here with me again in our last part of this little series, and she's definitely going to be back again. I'm so sad that we're wrapping this up, but I am excited that we're going to be like wrapping this up, and I'm excited to put this content out into the world. So yeah, thank you for being here, beautiful Gail. My goodness.
Thank you for having me, always.
Yes. So today we are going to be jumping into the harmonization of fear and trust, and we are going to be like trying to answer the questions of like, can you do something full of fear and accomplish it? Can we trust fear? How can we trust fear? So we're going to be dipping into the experiences where trust and fear were both in play and we were able to accomplish something, and we just want to share our experiences with that and answer those questions and, magnify all the beauties that come with it. So that's basically everything we're going to be jumping into today. So let's get into it and let's get mellow.
Yes.
Okay. So just to repeat the questions we're going to be trying to answer with our experiences, they are: can you do something full of fear and accomplish it? Can we trust fear? How can we trust fear? And things to that particular effect. So I know that as human beings, we're capable of accomplishing something full of fear, right?
100%.
Because like you think of like the first day of school and you're like really terrified, the whole day, but you get through it.
Right.
Just a small general, like broad
example.
Yeah,
Definitely. I can relate to that so much. Oh my gosh. Dude, I used to hate the first day of school, like so much. Like I was always so afraid, so anxious, like I'd always like, that feeling in your stomach where you're just like, bro, I'm about to throw up right now. Like that is literally like always how I felt. Not even like not even just like the first day. Like I feel like I was really anxious like growing up. Um and yeah, I feel like I had a lot of fear and just like going to school. And yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, for real. I like have a lot of fears with like when I started working and stuff, and like I worked at McDonald's for a bit and like in the drive-through, and even though I'm not even speaking to the person like face to face until they like get to the window, it's still like I was still like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna say everything wrong.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, seriously. You like nitpicking everything wrong about yourself.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, this isn't gonna go. Like you have so much self-doubt. It's insane.
Yes, exactly. Like, is there a particular experience where like you're fearful, but there was like an unknown factor that was it like felt unknown?
Mhm.
It was like pushing you through the storm. You know what I mean? Like because she
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like, well, like just the biggest one recently was me literally picking up and moving my entire life.
yeah,
Uh, so I just recently moved to Hawaii uh in December, and that was like probably the most like craziest thing I've ever done. Um,
I've
and
been waiting for this up, you guys.
I yeah, I think I had so much fear in moving here because you know, not only am I moving to a new place, but I'm moving to a new place in the middle of the ocean that's not easily accessible. Like I can't just hop in a car and drive like a few hours back, home. Like it doesn't work like that when you're
Yeah,
on an island and the mainland is hours away.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I had a lot of fear in moving here. I feel like just before I moved, I really I really healed a lot, like
right.
right before I moved. And I feel like I grounded myself a lot in the people that I was surrounding myself with, my friends, and just like I was really, really starting to open myself up to love again. Um, in general, just receiving love from everyone around me. And that was really tough for me to kind of just uproot because I was fearful of not finding that again, not finding like the love. And
Yeah,
yeah, it was really scary for me. Um, and I was
because you're
worried. What
really comfortable and um like felt all the love from like those people who are like solid in your life.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
remember talking to you actually like that night, like when we had like the going away party or whatever, like I remember pulling you aside and I started like bawling my eyes out because I was literally like why now basically? Why do I feel like I have to do this right now and leave when I'm just starting to love and I'm just starting to open myself up and really find myself like and I almost was like letting the fear kind of like question my decision of oh my gosh, is this like the right move? Like
mhm,
am I really supposed to be doing this?
yeah,
And yeah, I feel like trust kind of just played its role and God just played his role and he really was calling me to still pick up and move out here and kind of give the control to him and surrender myself and really experience it. And it was very hard at first when I moved here. I didn't have any friends. We were away from family. Um, it was tough, but I think because I still had like trust that everything was going to be okay because it was, like it'll always be okay. When you think it's not, like it will.
yeah,
It's honestly easier when you have trust because it's less stressful.
for real.
Um, but yeah, I'm here like 5 months in now and
Yeah, crazy.
it's I I wouldn't want it any other way. I'm so happy right now. And I'm thankful and grateful that I kept trusting in the process, in the way, the path. Um, yeah, I'm just so blessed, really.
It's so crazy that um you've been there that long. It's like when you say 5 months, it just makes me like wiggle because I'm like I know like for my listeners, if you've listened to like episode 1 and 2, then you know that VG's actually the one that took me to the hospital when I gave birth to my son. She was like my saving grace angel. Nobody was awake. It was like 1 in the morning, 1:45 in the morning, and she's like answers on this third ring, was like, "What's up?" I'm like, "Yep, I'm there in 10." Was there in 10.
On the third ring. That's crazy.
Yeah, legit. And like it's just crazy that it's been that long. And like I when you first moved, I was like, I'm gonna call you it was like every weekend. I know I'm gonna call you, everything's gonna be fine. And I reassured you that like,
yeah,
even though we're miles away, like our heart like chords are like still connected. And like,
yeah,
I'm gonna feel the love when I'm like when I'm pushing it through, you know what I mean? And even when you were going through something out there and I was like worried about you, and like you needed space and you needed to process what you were going through, and I was like worried, I still knew like you were okay. And like I know you were texting me and we were way back to what it was, and everything was cool. So it's like it's so beautiful to know that you've been able to like work through all those challenges, literally, because like it's so inspiring. You always think of you think of Hawaii as like this, the like dreamland. It's like euphoric and just super special. And so to see like your friend who's only a few years older than you just like pick up and move her life to another like to an island,
to another realm, basically.
No, yeah.
Literally.
I'm over here like, that's so inspiring, right?
Yeah.
And then you're looking at me like I'm inspiring because like I'm just like a young mom that's like doing what I need to do
that part
as a mother and as a human being.
Mother.
And I'm over here looking at you like, what the freak? Your balls off the walls, moving out here, like being crazy, like and we have these.
And like, they both have like their own struggles within that, like moving to Hawaii isn't just rainbows and butterflies. There are problems here, of course, and you being a mother, like there of course are going to be issues that arise, but we get through it because we have trust.
And like I always trusted that, like because I was fearful too that like because for me, on the other hand, I was trying to understand who my friends were and like who was like actually like the people I was interacting with. I was trying to make sure were like people that were meaningful.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
like
connected with them.
I was talking to. And if I knew that like our conversations didn't hold very much weight, or that they only held weight about like bullshit, or like talking about somebody else, or
not
about
significant things.
Yeah, like talking about things that are inappropriate. Like if it had to do with any of that, like I was just being really mindful of that. And then when I met like you and our friend group, like Lulu, Nicole, Azlina, Blue, like all the homies, like when I met everybody, that's when I was like, oh, like I got really nervous when you told me that you're moving, because I was like, oh no, because like we all like we're all like friends and stuff, and like when you picked me up for the like when you picked me up to bring me to the hospital, it was like not that like you leveled up or something like that. It was just like there was a different significance about you particularly in my life. So when I knew like, oh my gosh, like December is gonna come around, like I'm gonna like Christmas is gonna be sad, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh my gosh, friend's gonna be gone, like
imagine how I felt.
So I'm like, on my end, I had to trust, like, okay, no, she literally came and picked you up in the middle of the night, and that was like, that's literally why you're alive. You know what I mean? Like, you're legit why I'm alive. Like, if I would have birthed at home, I possibly 100% would have died because of the hemorrhage that I had and the abruption that I had. So like, and I was already 10 minutes apart in my contraction. So like, it was saving grace 100%. So like, with that being said, I was like telling myself like, girl, she's solid. Like, she came, she's there. You know what I mean? Like, she's not going nowhere. Even if she's over there, she still loves you. She's still
Yeah,
gonna like reach
the
out.
love is still there.
No, for real. And then like, and I feel like because even though we were like so fearful of that, we had to trust that
Mhm.
like we were still that things were still gonna be okay when you were gonna move out there and you're gonna figure things out and get your, life moving out there.
Yeah.
And so happy that you've met like a beautiful friend group and has found a beautiful church to go to, and like
Yeah.
these are so beautiful things, and I'm psyched to like visit you so that I get to meet these people and feel their
Yes.
love.
Gotta meet
So,
everybody.
yeah, so excited. And then you can bring the homies out here, like
Yep, I know. I've been telling everyone, I'm like, you guys need to come to California.
for real. Like, I know we out here, we weirdos, but like, damn, we can hang out.
We can still kick it.
But yeah, no, I just love that like we're able to trust, and that's such a good example of um like trusting fear, like trusting that even though trusting in the moment that even though I may be fearful like of what may happen in the future,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
could like, it's like you may have to look back on that context and be like, no, this person has shown me like over and over that I can trust them
Mm.
with my life. Like, you know what I mean?
Literally.
Like, oh God.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that
100.
like it's the context can be positive if you're using it in the right way.
Mhm.
Obviously you're fearful. Your fears are valid in regard to
Oh,
like
yes.
think yeah, like thinking of like, what may happen in your like last friend's experience, and it just thinking of generally what it would be like moving to a completely new state and country where things don't work the way you do and people don't look the way you do, and things are different, and they're, you know what I mean, like just thinking about all those fears and the general fears of that, and then you have to like think of like the positive context that you have also, which is like, that those people that are solid in your life have shown you like time and time again that they will show up for you. And then also you have to remind yourself that like, I mean, the sickest thing that I was like you had the like opportunity to do it, not do it alone, like you did it with one of your best friends, Nicole,
Yeah,
who
I did.
like, yeah, so who's
That
like,
was like I seriously don't know like how I would have done it without her. I would have done it, of course, yes, because I have trust, but like it made the transition like 10 times more like calming and peaceful and loving having her by my side because she's a piece of home, you know?
thank you, took the words out of my mouth.
Literally, she's a piece of home and I I would have had a much harder time if she wasn't by my side. Um, and even just like the support that we received from like our friends and family who were still back home. Like, yes, it was very hard moving here in the beginning, and there were very shitty days, but I just remember like having phone calls with you or Lulu or even just my parents and my siblings, like,
Yeah.
and you all were still like really encouraging and just like instilling in me that like just give it time. Like not
Yeah.
everything is gonna arise right at your front door like in an instant, you know. You have to practice patience and you have to practice trust.
Mm-hmm.
Um And that's really the test, is
Mm-hmm.
to kind of sit with your fear and and sit with it for a while and kind of go through the process of it and maneuver around it. And once you trust, the other side is good.
And like I love that you brought up patience because like that is such a huge part of it. Like
Mhm.
you you can't like because it's so unknown and because like you can't do anything about it rather than like sit with the feelings. You
Mhm.
you legit have to practice patience.
Patience. Yeah, no, definitely. That's a part of it. It's all interlinked.
For real. And shout out to me because does anybody say that?
You
um
do.
I I mean like obviously everyone knows like Ayla's dad is an amazing music artist, but I made a little song for patience and she sings it all the time. It's patience is key. It's the way to be. Let's keep the peace between you and me.
I
So
love
like
it.
taught her that real early just because I knew like I knew I needed to be patient, but I also knew like when she asked for like she'll ask me for water 10 times and
Mhm.
I'm literally she asking me the whole time I'm walking and pouring the water and then
Right.
closing the
So
fridge and asking her the water, 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 like the whole time. And I could tell her, be patient, and then she sings the song and then she understands, and then it works. Like, keep the peace between me and you, girl, because you are saying a lot right now. You don't need to say it that many times, and I love you, and I get you too, but like, girl,
you gotta get together. Yeah, I think that's definitely like a key role in just between the harmonization of trust and fear, is that like the inner linkage is like having patience. And like if you ask God or the universe or spirit, if you ask for something, you will receive. You will receive in all good times, in the way that it's supposed to happen. You will receive, but you do have to be patient and you have to trust that you will. But you kind of just have to give yourself to it.
right. And like, that's what, when I say, like, let's keep the peace between you and me, like, even when you think of when you're sitting in your when you're in your with yourself and you're sitting in your head and you're thinking about fears and you think of like you may be battling yourself like it's fine, I don't have to be scared, and then you're like, dude, you like there's so many reasons you need to be fearful right now, and
Yeah.
then fighting yourself, and it's
Yeah.
like, no, like, let's be patient, let's
Mhm.
trust each other, and let's just like
Just be
go.
present in the moment and just be
And
really.
that will bring you peace and
Yeah.
allow what is meant for you to come. You
Hmm.
know, that's where we're trying to create peace. We're trying to create. You know what I mean? What?
Yes, no, 100%. Yeah, just peace within. I feel like it's a, like you said, like I feel like we're just always battling ourself, and ourself is really our greatest enemy. And like that's really the greatest battle of all time, is the one within. But when you can overcome your lower self for your higher self, it's the best thing ever.
True.
But what about
Someday,
you? Just in a moment where you had fear and you really had to give yourself to trust, how was that for you? How was your experience within that?
I guess a simple experience or that was like happening was um I recently went on like a camping trip by myself for 2 nights and 3 days, and I'm gonna do like a pod going deeper into like the whole experience and everything I went through.
Mhm.
Particular experience that happened during that whole time frame was I was sleeping. So I had my tent set up, and my sister's car was there as well for me to keep my food in and stuff.
Mhm.
So I was sleeping in my tent the first night, and then the second night when I was cooking dinner, um, I was greeted by a man who, like, said, I come in peace, and he let me know that he was like from Germany, traveling with his wife, and that he was wondering if it was free where the campsite was. And I let him know that it wasn't, and then I helped him on my phone how to purchase the campsite. And as I'm, just talking to this man and experiencing his energy and just like um just speaking to him and everything, I find myself like getting really scared like the longer I'm with him, and was didn't understand like at first really why, and then kept checking my surroundings, and then once we um finished talking and stuff, and he had finished purchasing the campsite for the night, I walked back over to my campsite, and I like realized that those like fears of like being taken and being like, taken to be a sex trafficker or taken to be, killed or raped or kidnapped or all those like crazy things are, running through my mind as a female, just
Mhm.
camping by myself,
Yeah,
knowing that I'm here a few days, no one's gonna be here with me. Like
right.
I'm out here just by myself, and I chose this, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I chose to be here, and I'm choosing to get taken, I'm choosing to die, I'm like thinking all these crazy things, and found myself like texting my sister and my love, just to letting them know like this happened, I'm scared, not really sure what to do, I'm thinking about going home, you
Mm.
know, this trip early, it's fine, everything's gonna be fine.
Wait, was that
Like
the first night or the second night?
that was like the second night. So technically like got to the campsite at like 4 or 5 ish, and then stayed one night and then stayed there the whole day and then met that guy that day.
Mm.
Like the second night,
Yeah.
right? And so I was like, I was gonna like, you know, cut it quits early, it's fine. And my love was like, are you really scared? Like, is this really why you want to come home? Or are you like, is this an excuse like for you to come home? And he was like, and I was like, not, I was like, I'm scared. Like, am terrified for my life right now. I'm just trying to think like, what am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like, I just wasn't really sure at first.
Mm.
And after he had asked me that question, I like thought about it for a while, and I was like, okay, like, am I like, if I were to stay, how can I make it comfortable? And if like I did go home, would I really be okay, or would this feel like, it was for nothing and I wasted my time and all those things? So I like thought about everything, and I was like, okay, well, if I sleep in a tent, he's gonna slash through the tent, and I'm gonna hear and die, and this it, right?
Thinking the absolute worst, right?
And I'm like, okay, but if I sleep in the car, he has to bash the window, and I have to hear it, and I can have enough time where my sister's got to push a start, so I could just, I'll be sleeping in the car. I sleep in the driver's seat. You know what I'm saying? I was like
Get
ready. I was
ready.
like
Push
on
drive.
foot on the brake, press the button, go, homie. That's it. Like, I was with shit. Like, I was like, and then my love was like, I'll like FaceTime you all night. We weren't FaceTiming we didn't FaceTime all night the first night, and my phone was dead.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, so I couldn't charge it anyway. But like, so he was like, make sure your phone's charged in the car before you turn it off to go to sleep, so that I can FaceTime you. And I was like, okay. So I was like, okay, so I have someone listening, and I know I'm in the car and I'm safe, and I have my backup plan if like somebody breaks in, I'm ready to go. I'm like, got a plan. So I like finally felt comfortable enough to like close my eyes. Look who it is.
Hi. Hi, mamas.
Oh, she's so cute.
You just can't get a dress.
Hi, Vicky.
All right. All right, come on, let's go. Let's go upstairs. Okay, mommy's working. We'll be back. Say bye, BG. Bye, mommy. See you soon.
Bye, mamas.
Bye, Vicky.
Bye, mamas.
See you soon. All right, best on mommy.
Get in the square.
Mom, sing song.
Which one?
My sing song.
Which song?
Is the frame still good?
Song.
Yeah, what song?
Oh, you already did.
Ready? Want to sing Patience is Key together? Ready? Ready?
My
Okay.
love
Ready?
and
One,
my
two,
daughter
three.
came in really quick. I just wanted to share this with you guys.
Ooh, Daddy with the low note.
Hey, I got the bass.
My mom.
Baby. I'll be
All right,
right
we'll be
up.
back. Come on, mommy's
I'll be
working.
right up.
Let mommy work.
Work soon.
We gotta go. We gotta go. And we gotta brush your teeth.
Remember what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
So I knew I had a plan of like how I was gonna sleep.
Yeah.
And then obviously I was ready for the next morning, you know what I mean? I was like, Rolanda, you gotta be here in the morning. If so, like just, be on standby. And luckily I was like in the city, like I was like in the city of where my sister was living. So it's like wasn't like I was far from her at all. So it was like she knew she could just mob over.
Yeah.
And so like then I was like I woke up, because it's when you're sleeping out in the wilderness, you wake up with the sun. So I was like awake, and so like his wife would use the bathroom and walk by my car, and like he used the bathroom, walk by my car, and I was like, don't make eye contact, everything's fine, you know what I mean? And like then they like drove out, like probably like 12 o'clock, drove out of the campsite and like waved at me and like was like, that was it.
Was he with his wife?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I survived.
You did survive.
Nobody took me.
Nobody took you.
I didn't die.
You did not die.
But I believed it. I swore that German was about to take my ass and just go fucking
what you just said just now. You believed it. Like that is when fear takes over and you're consumed by fear. Is when you truly believe in fear and you believe that it can have that power, then that's when things go wrong, and that's when it gets twisted, and that's when you start to like you give it its name, really.
Yeah.
You believe in it.
For real. And like also going from like COVID just hit. We just, we were inside for a minute, and I haven't worked since since I was pregnant with my first child, Ayla, my daughters. Like, I had a lot of crazy social experiences since then. So like,
yeah, for sure.
And that's because of COVID, and that's because of, what's been going on. So like, all those fears were like so loud because I mean, freaking isolated for so long.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't even know I want to know how to interact with this man. And I thought I did pretty well. I helped him with the campsite, let him use my phone, no big deal, everything's great. But then also I was like, oh my God, like I could be so nice to this person, but he could turn around and like just, pick my ass up and take me like this, legit.
Right.
Like,
legit. Yeah, that's true. He could, but he didn't.
But he didn't, and I had to trust myself that wasn't gonna happen. I had to trust him and trust that he was like, a
human being
out there with his wife, just
right.
feeling the vibes.
Yeah.
The van life, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I actually have a similar experience to that as well too. Like one time I was at the pier in Ventura, and I watched the sunset with my friend Emma, and it was like the sun went down and it was dark and we were like, oh, we should probably leave,
Yeah.
So she like left. I gave her a hug and she was walking to her car, which like wasn't parked next to mine. It was in like this structure. And then like I was parked in this this open parking lot. So I said bye to her, whatever, and she's like walking away. And then I'm walking my car and this homeless man starts walking up to me and he's kind of like just kind of like mumbling stuff to himself, I guess. And he's like walking towards me at this point. Like he was walking on a pathway and then he like saw me and then he started walking towards me and I was like, oh gosh, like in that moment I was seriously like, dang, like not right now, dude. Like I'm just trying to go home. Like it's dark. Like I don't know what you're about to do, what you're about to say. Like so I definitely had some fear inside of me. And so he walks up and he sees my car and he goes, oh, is this your car? And I was like, yeah, this is my car. And he was just like, oh, you have a beautiful car, beautiful. And I was just like, I mean, it's just a Toyota Corolla, but cool. I was like, thank you so much. And he was just so filled with love, really. And then like he starts talking about how he's here in Ventura and he's going to school and he's from Brazil and I don't know what is true or what's not, but all I know is that like I didn't have bad vibes from him. Once he started opening up and started speaking to me, I was like, I don't think this guy's bad at all. Like, and then like I was like, okay, well, like I have to go, but like I hope you have a beautiful night and you get home safe. And he was like, oh, thank you so much. And he starts walking away, and I was like, wait, what's your name? And like I forgot his name, but like he told me his name and he asked me what my name was, and I told him like my name is Victoria, and he was just like, oh, Victoria, you're so beautiful. And he gave me a gigantic hug and a kiss on the forehead, and I literally like, wow, I was so afraid of this man, like judged him without even knowing him, and it turns out he was just full of love and like
opposite.
Yeah, seriously. And I just trusted based off the vibes that he was giving me, which were good, that he was a good man and he had genuine intentions and he just wanted to share love and spread love.
And you know what's crazy? I'm sorry to interrupt, but like when you refer to him as like a homeless man and you think of like a homeless people or a homeless person and they're like, kind of dirty and they have like, their hair's a little raggedy, this doesn't really look bright, whatever. Like, when you like way back when, like we weren't looking like this. Like we weren't clean, walking around super like we weren't walking around like that. You know what I mean? Like we're dirty. We were like chasing shit. We were like, you know what I mean? Like we were doing stuff and like naturally in our society, when you look at someone who's dirty and someone who's like looks like that, you automatically think of negative. But like imagine if like I'm trying to think of like back when you're like a native, like if you look at someone that's like that and you're like, wow, like that was a full day's of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
worked hard, dirty like that.
I feel like nowadays, like
not that men don't come home, you know, from like working with oil all over their hands, and I mean, my dad, would come home looking crazy.
Yeah.
He's a carpenter, not that he's doing anything super particular with, you know, a lot of chemicals or something like that, or stuff that gets you super dirty, but like he be coming home hella dirty, and
yeah.
like, you know what I mean? That's a full day's work. You know what I mean? Good shit.
Yeah.
You know.
No, seriously, and like that. Yeah, seriously, and I feel like that just. I feel like nowadays, like we're all just so like cloaked, and like we have these like masks on, and we don't really like to show that like we have imperfections, I guess. And like you said, I don't know, you really you really magnified that just now for me, honestly. Like I feel like, you know, when we see a homeless person or just like people on the street that aren't dressed well, or they don't have much, like we think less of them, when really like we're just as equal as them, you know? We have our imperfections just how they have their imperfections, and no one's perfect, and we all have our faults. But at the end of the day, like everyone just wants to be seen. Like everyone just wants to be seen and be heard for who they are. Like not how we're dressed or how our hair's did up. Like we just want to be seen, and we just want to be shown love. Like it's that simple. Why can't we do it?
For real. And like something that my oldest sister's significant other, like he I remember we would drive around like the city, and my sister would be like, oh, like it makes me so sad to see like the homeless people. And he would be like, you know, you got to think about it, like some of them choose that. Some of them choose to not be a part of society and to live like that. You know what I mean? And then I'm thinking like they're like going back to their roots, and they're not even like, they don't even have the ability to really do it that well, just because we're like surrounded by so much industrial like buildings and stuff. But like imagine choosing that and actually having like maybe like being in Hawaii and choosing to not be a part of society and to live as like a, you know, a freak nomad, as one would like say, you know what I mean? Like on the island and just be like living like that. Like that's, and someone would
people
probably
do that. Yeah, for sure. And they're giving up like just the like external world and like the craziness of the broken world, and they just go internally, and they suffice really with just the simplicity of it.
To me, it's like their home, like their new home is like, they're not homeless. They realize that their home is like
wherever they are.
Yeah, like this is their home wherever they're at. Like
they are their home.
Yeah.
Yeah, love is their home for sure.
Yes. And it's just like, and you've got to know that those people were fearful even making those acts, and fearful probably every single day. Like
really, they're probably losing freedom, actually.
Yeah.
Freedom from the world.
I wish we could be like full avatar in this biz. Like that's really where my heart wants to be. Like if we could be all full, like all of us full avatar out here in this biz, I would be like, we would actually like each other, everyone.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine a world where everyone just loved everyone.
Oh my gosh.
That's heaven.
Because that's what we're trying to do with the world. Create a loving, safe space for everyone, and know that everyone's loved and can be loved.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I do. I do know
It's
it.
all, may have went on a tangent.
We did. We definitely did. But it is all related back to fear and trust.
Yeah. Okay. So to reel us back in, I just wanted to bring up patience again and ask the question to you, BG, if you think patience is like that main factor of how we can trust fear.
I would agree with that, that you really need to have patience when you're harmonizing fear and trust in that relationship of them two together. Because I think us as human beings, like, it's always about the instant gratification, and we want everything now. We want it now. We want it placed right in front of us right now. We can't wait, you know? And I think that just stems of like have that that just stems from having power really and having control. It really does. Just us, I feel like our human nature is just wanting power for the wrong reasons and wanting control for the wrong reasons, you know? And that's really,
I feel like most of the time it's subconscious too.
yeah, but also consciously too. Like,
consciously, but like I'm saying, for some of the times, like some people like are really powerful and they don't even know that they're powerful. You know what I mean?
right. But it's whether you use that power for good or for bad. And I feel like a lot of the times, like, us humans just want, like, we just want, that's it. It's the desire. Like, so when fear arises, like, we don't want it, and we want the better half of it, which is the other side of it, with everything's good, you know? Like, so when we're in those instances and fear arises and it presents itself to us on our pathways and on our journeys, like, we get so scared and we just want it to end now without even like looking at it for what it actually is and why it's presented in front of you and why the fear is there and what it's supposed to bring out of you,
Right.
which is yourself, really. We just get blinded, and we want the control to take the fear away right away. So we don't even really get to sit with it, you know, and really ask ourselves, why is this being presented to me? It's happening for a reason. So maybe you should kind of just take a step back and look at it and understand it.
And that's really a big part where like you need to be patient with yourself. And it's, I think, even more difficult to be patient with yourself because you're like, this is an icky feeling and I don't want to feel this way.
Yeah.
You know?
I just want it gone now, you know?
Exactly. If not now, when? And when is probably going to be at the wrong moment and the wrong time in the wrong place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why I think it's really important to have patience in those moments, because that will bring about the trust. Having patience will bring about the trust, but you have to have patience, and you have to be able to kind of take a step back out of your lower self in order to see your higher self. But it is a process.
Yes.
And you know, it is very hard and annoying and stressful. All the above. You know, it's not easy, but
is it worth it?
Always. Yes, always worth it.
Okay, so I think we did a really great job of going into how we can trust fear and the harmony of fear and trust, and also our experiences with those two qualities particularly. So with that being said, I would like to just wrap this segment up with answering all the questions that we've had throughout the podcast series. So the first question that we touched on this episode was, can we trust fear? And so from my understanding, our answer to that is yes. And do you agree, Vici?
Yes, I do agree that we can trust fear and let go and kind of, give fear to trust. Absolutely.
Yes. And so we want to bring light to the fact that we know that it's scary and can be even frustrating. So that being said, like, how can we trust fear when it does get frustrating or it does feel really difficult,
Yeah.
I think
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think with what we've talked about, and like something that you brought up was being patient.
Yeah, definitely being patient and just letting it go out of your control.
Right. And like, it's really important to like be patient with yourself and be patient with the situation. Like, that's what I'm receiving when you're saying like it's out of your control. Like, you just have to be patient with yourself and patient with source and whatever.
Yeah, the flow of it all.
Yeah, like the other parties. So both fear and trust are pretty difficult to experience and definitely worth experiencing so that we can better ourselves and learn to nip fear in the butt like way quicker than usual, way quicker than in the past. So, how another question that we covered in the pod was like how fear and trust harmonize. And from my point of view, how fear and trust harmonize is that like weighing of the context of your brain and what you've experienced prior. And when I say that, I'm referring to when fear arises about a particular situation that you're put in. If you listen to part 1, we explained that when you experience fear, it's all of this context from your prior experiences that you may have had that are similar and may have had negative outcomes. So this context is like what you're considering when you're fearful, and the harmonization with trust is to also consider the context that falls under trust, which would be any context of experience you have with the opposite party of whatever situation you may be in. So if you're maybe in a situation where you're trusting a particular person, you may be fearful of a friendship in the past that went to shit.
Yeah.
Although you may have to trust your context of you knowing in the past that when you went to this person and gave this person information, or you were vulnerable with this person was able to be there with you and be there for you no questions asked, with love, and they showed you how solid they were. So these are the two, these are the two contexts, I guess, you're like considering and comparing and weighing as, and that really is like the harmonization of fear and trust from my point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good example for sure. Definitely.
That is a wrap, and it is so exciting to have a guest on my podcast and to be able to share someone else's point of view and someone else's words and love to the world, because that's all I want to do. I just want to share other people's experiences and my experiences so that other people can learn from it and take what they need from it and, enjoy their life. So thank you so much, VG, Victoria Green,
Thank
for
you
being
for
my
having
very
me.
first guest.
I just also want to say, like, if anyone that's listening to this podcast, like, if you ever just want to, like, reach out to any of us, like, and just be like, hey, girl, what's up? Or, like, I need to talk about this, or I need help, or literally anything, and you just need love, like, please don't be afraid to reach out. Like, we are good listeners, and we are also
Absolutely.
very loving, and we got your back. So anyone who's listening to this and really resonated with whatever we're talking about, or has any like questions or wants to get in deeper, like just hit us up.
Yeah, throw in like a DM to one of us on Instagram. They are going to be in the
want to have a conversation, or maybe you don't agree with what we're saying, and that's perfectly okay too. Like,
it could be any experience that you may want to talk about, and any experience that you may be fearful of, or anything else you may want to talk about, because truly, like,
or you're in a situation
you're very open
how do I get through this situation, like,
right, like we're very open, and we want to help. We're excited to help. I just want to encourage everyone to connected with us, to follow and be present on the socials, and I will have those in the descriptions on both the audio version and visual version. I just want to thank everybody for listening and taking the time to, tune into yourself and ask yourself some pretty hard questions.
That part.
You're capable of accomplishing something full of fear. Like, yes, you are. Like, the answer to that hard question is yes.
You have all the power within. Anyone who's listening, you can do anything, and you can overcome anything as long as you have love on your side. You're unstoppable.
Exactly. Do all things through love. You do all things through love. So, I'm always gonna leave you with this. Life is a gift, and every day is like a blank canvas that we get to fill with our new experiences that we have. And let's choose to fill that canvas with the positive experiences, whether or not we're going through something difficult or something tragic or whatever your situation may be on the spectrum. So with that being said, love, love, love out to everybody. Thank you again, VG, for being here, and tune in for next week's episode on Friday at 7 a.m. I will be posting the title to that later this week, so look out for that. And
so exciting.
Stay connected.
Can't wait to see what the next topic is.
Yeah, I'm excited to let y'all know.
And who the next guest is.
It's true.
So excited.
We love you guys and go get mellow.
Yes.